It's time for Animaniacs. You know they're coming back?
Yeah.
That's pretty legit. Hey guys, this is Daniel.
And Matthew. And we are that
That's
damn
damn
brand.
brand. Oh my gosh. Okay, anywho.
I still think it's a lot better than you think it is. It's probably just the delay in Skype. Anyway, we're back with another episode of our podcast, episode 15. And
1-5. That's
yeah,
quite a bit.
if this were a actual person, they'd be almost learning how to drive. But
If it was Final Fantasy, it would be XV.
and it also would have taken what 10 years to come out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so today we've got a couple of things we want to discuss with you guys. So let's start with some World of Warcraft news. So, World of Warcraft, if you haven't been living under a rock for the past, I don't know, 20, 15
A
years,
long time.
yeah, World of Warcraft is a huge game, very successful, made a shit ton of money for Blizzard. And recently they pissed off a bunch of fans because they changed some of the lore in the game. And if you have a franchise that's been around for as long as World of Warcraft has, and you turn around and change some shit, people are gonna get upset. I understand that you want to keep things fresh, but I think the issue is that one of the characters switched sides. And I'm not familiar with World of Warcraft, so if I butcher this, I apologize. But basically, one of the characters went from the Alliance to Horde or Horde to Alliance, and people are losing their shit. So that's what you heard as well, right?
I heard that, yeah, yes. But a lot of people are saying that it goes against her character because of how she did it, and that she's a strong female character, and a lot of people are backlashing against the fact that the only strong female character in the game is the one to do that, and it kind of shows her as a little bit of weak. But from the fans that I've talked to that are playing it probably this second, if I went to go to Discord and look, um, they said that actually it doesn't go against her character, and it was kind of set up that way, and it looked like it was set up that way for it to happen. They actually don't see any problem with it, but I'm only speaking from people who are speaking about it from a outside view, I guess, because I don't never touched the game in my life.
Right.
So, but from what I've talked to from people who still play the game, playing the expansion that just came out, they have no qualms with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess some people don't have qualms about it, but there are those that have losing their shit, as I mentioned. I'll probably try and put a link in the description if I can find it again. But yeah, that's a hard thing. It's a hard balance to find when you have a successful franchise because you, like I said, you want to keep things fresh and you want to make changes, but you don't want to like alienate your fan base, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, so we'll see how it ends up turning out, but right now, at least at the beginning, there was some outrage. So I'm sure it'll quiet down.
yeah, it always does.
Yeah,
Give it a week.
sure enough. All right, so we'll just move on from that since we don't, play WoW, so we're not really that invested in it. So we'll move on to the Override Mech Brawl closed beta. I saw that game on one of the websites I visited. I think it's alphabetagamer.com, where they talk about all the upcoming alphas and betas. And I thought it looked kind of cool because to me it reminded me of King of the Monsters on Super Nintendo, which is one of my favorite games actually. It was really cool. And so it's kind of like a cross between King of the Monsters and the like Zords, like Megazord from Power Rangers type thing.
Ultron.
Or yeah,
Yeah.
Ultron, Voltron, like whatever, like all just kind of it just seemed really fun. And so, the fact that you could sign up to play the beta, I was like, yeah, I jumped on it. And I got a code, and Daniel got a code. And so we tried that out. I think it was last weekend was the beta.
I think so.
And so we played that for a while. I was actually kind of disappointed. Um, the game felt very floaty. I've been trying to think of a better way to describe it, and I just can't. For there to be 20-foot tall mechs where you're destroying city buildings just by like walking and stuff, it feels like you're floating. It doesn't feel like the Zords or the mechs have as much weight behind them as they should. Um, yeah, I mean, because we played it together also. Like I tried to stream it solo for a little while and got destroyed. Uh, oh, I did okay, like a little bit. You know, I did some cool shit, but
Yeah.
generally, like in those, the only mode that was available in the closed beta was well, there were two. One of them was the free for all, 4 versus 4, or whatever, 4 players free for all, and it's up to 4 players, so it could be 1v1 or 1v1v1 or then the 1v1 whatever 4, or like the private matches where you could do 1v1s. And so Daniel and I spent some time doing that just so we could learn the different mechs and the special abilities and stuff. But so how would you describe it from your experience? Like, am I don't think I'm that far off base.
Well, of course, you wouldn't think you're that far off base. Um, I didn't have a problem with the floatiness of the game. I had problems with the controls of the game. I felt the controls weren't responsive. You can put in a command, and sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't. Particularly dash kicks. That sometimes I couldn't figure out when to press the kick button for it to kick, because it feels like sometimes I press it earlier, and it works, and sometimes I press it later, and it works, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So my issue was the controls. Um, I guess balancing too. I felt some of the monster or the robots were like way overpowered compared to the other robots. But maybe that's something it was a beta, and that's something they can tone down if they care enough. I don't know how far in depth they want to go. If they want to make it like a Smash Bros. Where it's not competitive at all, or do they want to make it like Tekken or Street Fighter?
Well, the fact that there are ultimates that you can only do when you've sustained a certain amount of damage makes it feel like they're going in more of like the over the top style versus
Yeah,
strictly competitive. So, uh, yeah, I agree that some of them are a lot more, feels like they're more overpowered than others. Because, you know, when you have one of the mechs that's like, I guess, a ranged character that has a bow, and the ultimate, as soon as you activate it, it just lands in one spot. I guess that's easier if you're doing 1v1s, but like in a free for all, you just kind of have to guess, like, because people are constantly moving and being hit, and so you can try to hit people with it, but it's a lot harder versus that one that I think you played towards the end of our like sparring or whatever, where it was like the white and gold, almost like Tiger Zord looking one, where
yeah.
his was like the fire that came out of the ground, like went everywhere, like
It's
on
an
the entire.
AOE.
Yeah, it went
Yeah,
everywhere on the entire screen. Like, yeah, that's gonna be a lot more powerful than, you know, you try to get somebody and you just miss. Like, fuck, that's a complete waste. So yeah, there definitely have some tuning and some balancing to do, but it is a. So here's the thing though. This game is in beta. It's closed beta, but the release date is supposed to be, I think, December 4th, and that's actually not that far off. Like,
no, it's not.
so I I don't want to say it's an indie game for sure because I don't know if it's an indie game, but I don't think that it uh, has as much development. Like the development team isn't very big, so I don't think there's going to be that
The
many.
resources.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of resources behind it, so I don't think there's going to be able to be that many sweeping changes to the game in that short amount of time. So this might end up being one of those games that's released and then they have to turn around and patch it like a lot, or um, just give it constantly updates and attention. It might turn
Yeah,
out where at the beginning it's just kind of okay, and then they do a lot of bug fixes and patches and they make it awesome, kind of like the Division, I guess. Uh, but I don't know. I think the game has potential. It was fun, but it does need some work.
yeah. I,
So
I I enjoyed it a little bit. I don't know if it'll be a buy for me, but I wouldn't mind playing it every now and then.
I think the thing that sucks is since it was just only a beta that we didn't get to try the mode where the like 4 players play as one
Yeah, one
bot.
of the limbs.
Yeah, like so it's like I'm gonna be like the left punch and you're gonna be the right punch, and somebody else is a kick and all that. Like I think that would be interesting because it takes some hella coordination.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so that I want to at least try that once. But we'll see how much it costs and what the reviews say about it, whether or not it's worth picking up immediately or waiting to catch it on a Green Man sale or something.
All right.
So, but which, by the way, I want to mention a quick shout out to Green Man because I recently purchased No Man's Sky from them a day before it went on sale for like, I don't know, $20 off or something. And I actually contacted support and they hooked it up. They gave me $20 in store credit. So just want to say kudos to Green Man for being awesome and taking care of their customers. Daniel and I purchase games from them quite frequently, actually.
I love
Uh,
Greenman.
yeah, so I feel like that actually helped my cause that I mentioned. I have kind of a loyal customer. So, but the fact that they did it, I mean, they could have just told me to go fuck myself. Like the fact that they didn't was awesome. So, shout outs to Green Man. We're not affiliated with them, at least not yet.
I would love to be.
Uh,
Yeah, right. Give me free games. I'm just kidding.
so I mean, I'm not. This is just of my own free will. But yeah, if you haven't already, like, I'll put a link to Green Man in the description. You can check them out. And usually have pretty good sales. So
I can't think of the last new game that I bought like off of not Greenman.
yeah, because we got Far Cry from there and
Yeah,
Monster Hunter from there and
I got Final Fantasy from there. Destiny back in
yeah, yeah.
like unless there's like a Steam sale or something. I don't know where I just buy from Greenman.
Well, and I was gonna say Marvel, but we didn't. I mean, we had to buy that from Oculus. So
Yeah, it's like I said, the last one.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, we didn't have a choice. If it was on
yeah.
Green Man, we probably would have bought it on Green Man. So yeah. Anyway, shout out to Green Man. But we'll move on from that, and so we'll talk about the Halo on Rails arcade game called Fireteam Raven that is only available at Dave and Buster's. And
Is it really?
yeah, it is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's only available at Dave and Buster's. So we'll let you talk
Oh,
about your experience first.
all right. So I was waiting on a movie to go see a movie, and there's a Dave & Buster's right next to it. So I went in there and saw it there. Bought some monies or some credits or whatever they call it. Got a drink and started playing. 'Cause that's how I roll. Anywho, so I was playing solo until some kid and his dad came up and they started playing with me. I felt it's kind of like a single player experience, but not really. Like it's kind of weird because whenever you fight something, you fight them in fours, and it's a four-player game, and one attacks each player. So you kind of have to focus down the one in front of you if you don't want to die before you kill anyone else's. So you focus yours down, and then you help the kid because he's dying, and I feel like it was just a cash cow. I do like so I don't want before I
Cash grab.
Crash Grab, yeah. Before I rip them one, I will say I do like that they did go to the original trilogy's art style because they changed the way the Covenant. For those of you who don't know, they changed the way the Covenant looked in Halo 5, but it looks like Halo 1 art, which I thought was really cool. I wasn't expecting that. When I actually saw that, I was thinking maybe that it was based off the original trilogy until I saw the new AI from Halo 4 and 5 from the Pillar of Autumn and stuff. But anywho, um, so I do like they reverted the art style because the new art style sucks. The game itself is garbage. It's the only thing Halo about it is the characters in it. I remember a part where I picked up a plasma pistol and I didn't know how to fucking use it because you don't use it the way you use a plasma pistol in the fucking game. Like it's just like an assault rifle except it's called a plasma pistol. You don't charge it the way you do in the standard game. You have to you actually have to manually let it cool down. It's not just
Well, no,
up time.
I think for the plasma pistol, because the way that Fireteam Raven works is that there's a button to shoot
The
and a
reload
button
button.
to reload, yeah. And I think in the other one you like hold down the reload button and then it would cool it down. But I think in this one you actually just push it and it like cooled down, like since it's still the reload button.
Well, it would do that only if you overheated. If you never
Mm.
overheated, you would never have to technically cool it down because
Okay,
it
so
would
you can
cool
just
down on
like
its
let it
own.
go.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, that's
So it didn't operate. Nothing played the way Halo played. The only thing that was there from it was the lore and the characters. Um, even I don't know. It's not even skill based in my opinion because I don't feel that there was any way to stop from getting hit because the enemies are too strong to they
it's
have too much health.
they're tanky, like almost
Yeah.
like bullet sponges.
Yeah, so they're just tanking it out and then shooting you, and you're an ODST, so you don't recover health. So there's really no way to not die
Yeah, so that's why I can see what you're saying like it's like a cash grab because they basically are forcing you to keep playing it, like spending, the money because you just even if you're like the best at these kind of games where like your aim is flawless and let's say there's no lag on the screen, between the screen and the gun and everything is fucking perfect, you're still gonna get hit because that's just how the game is developed. They want you to take damage, eventually die, and have to spend more money. So, I mean, granted, you would live longer if you, like Daniel was saying, you focus down the guy in front of you, as opposed to like when they attack, like, oh, I'm gonna help the little kid because he's a little kid while you're getting shot at. Then yeah, you're gonna die a lot sooner than if you just focus him yourself. But even if you're like the best player in the world, you're still gonna eventually die and have to pay more money to play the game. So yeah, I can see where that's like you're saying, it's not skill based. It's kind of a cash grab. Um, how long did you end up playing it for? Do you think?
I got to the third stage.
Okay.
My movie was going to start. I kind of want to go back and do the whole thing, just commit like $20 to it probably and do the whole thing, but um that's something we can talk about next time. I'll probably do it like on a Wednesday or something when it's half off.
Nice. Yeah. So I went on Friday, not this Friday, but last Friday actually, with the dates, and she's a gamer, and so we actually played it, and she did pretty well actually. Like obviously I came out on top, but
Guess
it
that
was the
has to
same.
happen once in a while.
Yeah. So it's well, and see that's another thing about it too. So like there's four players, there's four screens, whatever, and even though you're like moving along the same path because it's an on-rail shooter, even though you're moving along the same path, you have your own enemies to fight. But like me and her sat on the same side or whatever, so like the two people that would come out, like I take care of mine, she takes care of hers, or then we'll help each other or whatever, vice versa. And then but you could also move your cursor all the way across to like the person that's all the way on the other side and help them if you needed to, like if they just sucked or were a kid or whatever and you wanted to help out, you could move your crosshair all the way over and shoot their shit and come all the way back. So it's interesting how you can kind of just you know shoot shit all across the screen. But um, we managed to get to, I think it was like stage 4 or 5. Um, I kind of wanted to beat it too, but I was spending double the money because I'm paying for me and her. So it's like, shit, like
Yeah.
I didn't want to end up spending $100 on this fucking Halo game or whatever. So I was kind of like, yeah, this is fun, but let's do something else. But it's interesting because there's just a button for a grenade, and since it's an on-rail shooter, it's kind of like it's almost like you just push the button, the grenade, and then it just clears the screen. Like,
Like
um,
Area 51 style from like the 90s.
yeah, or actually,
Yeah.
I was playing Contra 3, the Alien Wars, just last night. Actually, the little bomb that you use in Contra 3, where it's just like meow, and it covers the whole fucking screen, and everything that's there is just dead.
Just saying that pisses me off.
What?
That it takes mechanics from like that kind of shit. Like it did nothing to try to make itself original. It pretty much just slapped Halo on and tried nostalgia to do its work, and it worked somewhat because it made us interested. If it was like random space shooter number two, and we wouldn't give a shit. But that's all it is, really. And that's kind of sad for me because that's kind of how I see what they're taking the franchise. So that's the kind of mentality they're going to go in with Halo 6 after not learning with Halo 4 and not learning with Halo 5. Halo 5 is one of the most hated games out there.
Is it?
Yeah, that has like no fan base at all. Like
I was
they
not
claim,
aware.
yeah. No, I've been following its player base and all that stuff. It doesn't have a player base, and it's like all the COD people who like got tired of COD and wanted to play Halo, but like COD. Just got kind of tired of the franchise, I guess I should say, not the mechanics.
Right.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't help that Xbox is losing the war.
Well, that's something we'll cover in a second as well, or maybe not a second, but we'll get to that. But so just one. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention about the on rails
It
specifically?
sucks. Don't waste your money. It costs a lot. It costs a shitload.
Yeah, I don't know what the ratio of like real dollars to like Dave and Buster's bucks is or whatever, but it's something crazy. Um, yeah, yeah, that's what I was saying. I was paying double, so it's gonna
Yeah.
cost me an arm and a leg.
So I think I'm gonna go is like take one of those coupons, the spend 20, you get 20. and then go on like a half price a day.
Yeah, just basically
Yeah.
maximize your value. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. My thing is, if you've ever played like any sort of on rails shooting game, like a Jurassic Park or a Terminator, or even going all the way back to like old school arcades, like Revolution X or whatever it's called, the
I was gonna.
Aerosmith game.
Yeah, the way you shoot the
Yeah,
CDs.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you've ever played any fucking game like that, that's essentially what it is, but with the fucking Halo license or franchise or whatever slapped on it.
I actually am going to disagree with that because I feel rail shooter. I was a big rail shooter fan in arcades. Lost World Jurassic Park was my game. I beaten that game on one life.
Wow.
Me and my cousin did it. Well, he died on the T Rex at the end, but I killed the T Rex.
Okay,
So
so I can already see where you're going with this. You're gonna say that those games took skill, whereas Halo does not.
yeah, and they were just fun. There was mechanics to learn behind each fight. This you just shoot shit till it dies. Like even
Or
Banshees
you,
just
or
shoot
you
shit.
die.
Or you die, exactly. Like there
Yeah.
was nothing behind it. And the guns weren't even good. When you get an assault rifle, it worked exactly like the fucking shotgun. The shotgun pump shotgun was automatic. Like it was fucking stupid.
Yeah, and then there's a scene you can pick up a rocket launcher or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's like you just shoot, it's like you're saying like automatic rockets. Like just imagine if somebody hacked the assault rifle to shoot rockets. Like that's what it was.
So anyone who played Halo is going to be disappointed because yeah, the two shot like it even is a two shot rocket launcher. We see the barrels like flipping every single time, and it's just like rotating, rotating, boop, 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 boop. Like it's like a fucking chain gun with rockets. Like it's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yep.
It's not a good game. Like so, not even taking away like I guess I don't know what the fuck I'm trying to say. It sucks.
I just would say that if you're curious, then give it a shot, like maybe once, like like all right, I'm gonna spend this money one time just so I can check it out and I know what it's about. But
Yeah,
I wouldn't recommend doing what we're discussing, which is actually going through and trying to fucking beat it, like play through it all the way to the end. That's something I would not recommend, even if you are a hardcore Halo fan and a hardcore on rail shooter fan. I still
because
don't think it's worth it.
I'm kind of both, and this thing's shit sucks.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
Time
agree.
Crisis 2 is still the best one of all time.
Time Crisis games are fun. I actually played, I think, 7 at the one.
Five.
Well, I think 7 is the latest one. Or
I
is it
think
5?
five is.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I just fucking played some kind of Time Crisis game, but.
Did you play the Tomb Raider? No, we're going off track. There's a Tomb
No.
Raider.
Yeah, I saw it, but we didn't play it because
I want to play that too.
there was a bunch of little kids playing
I
it.
haven't played it
I,
yet, but yeah.
so that's, I mean, fuck, we might as well just talk about it because, fuck it, tangents happen. So the Tomb Raider game is essentially the same thing from what I saw. Like, it's kind of like but you have a handgun and you're just shooting at shit on the screen. So, like, I don't see how it's necessarily a Tomb Raider game other than it's the same sort of concept where they're slapping a popular video game franchise onto another kind of game that's vaguely
I,
similar.
I see that one fitting in a little bit better because Tomb Raider has been rebranded and it's more action based now, action survival based. If we were talking about pre the re
Reboot.
yeah reboot, I would agree with you. But after the reboot and it's based on the reboots, I kind of disagree.
I don't know. It just doesn't. I'm interested to try it, but it doesn't look great. I
I'm interested
guess.
to try it too. Pop a wolf. See those wolves coming. Bam, bitch.
Yeah.
You had no chance in this fight.
It's just interesting the kind of stuff that's in arcades because I mean, as far as I know, like arcades aren't popular anymore. Like there might be one diversions left in San Antonio, where at one point there was one on like every street corner. It felt like.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess they're kind of past their prime, but
Yeah, they're definitely past their prime. And what I found interesting was there was an Injustice game at the thing, and it looked like the cell phone version of it, where it's just like one button or whatever.
it is. So we actually played that. You don't even get to pick your characters unless you have the little cards.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, so like because apparently she told me she wanted to play me in Tekken, and so we were actually trying to see if there was like a fighting game around there, and then fucking we found that Injustice game, and we're like, okay, let's try this. Yeah, you fucking pay the money with the little card, and it fucking if you don't have any of the cards to choose your fighter, it just fucking assigns you 3 random fighters. So we're like, what what kind of shit is this? Like, how lame is that? So like, we just fucking played, and I won, and we each get we each got a little card. Like, I think I got Bane, and she got Joker, and so
Oh, so you have to
then,
work your way up?
huh?
You have to work your way up into like you have to play it to get
To get,
characters?
yeah, exactly. So here's, yeah, so you get it, the cards are just random as far as I
Oh
know.
shit.
So she got Joker and I got Bane, but then you can turn around and scan the cards in, and so like the next game we played it like a couple of times just to try and give it a fair shake. And so the next time, we both scanned in the two cards, so like we both had Joker and Bane, and then it gave us a random third character because we didn't have another card. And so we played again, I won again, and then we got Green Arrow and another Bane. So I did Green Arrow, Bane, and Joker. She just let hers be random. I won again. We got two more cards, and that was it. But yeah, so if you want to actually be able to select the characters that you want in that fucking Injustice arcade game, you have to carry around a set of cards that the game gives you, and you have to
So
just kind of hope that you get who you want and the version that you want. So they're actually, not only is it just the character, but it's like a specific character. So like there's Flash and there's like Universe 52, whatever it's called, New 52 Flash or whatever.
yeah,
Like that's how it is for every single fucking character. So there's, I guess that's their way of replayability, but to me that's fucking dumb.
that's pretty dumb. And I didn't know that. I didn't play it. I just what caught me was the fact that didn't look like an actual fighting game.
Yeah, so
Like the way, and then also the graphics on it look fucking awful. Like I was like, what the fuck is this? This is an arcade game. This should have cream of the crop shit. Like and it's Injustice. Like it doesn't take much hardware to make that look good. So I just think the whole market like is not even if giving a shit about arcade games. They're just trying to bank off of names. How like I saw a Rampage game there, which I thought it's cool that they brought back Rampage. I didn't play it, but it looked like it played by like the old Rampage, where you play as all three of the wolf, the lizard, which I guess is an alligator now, and um, and the monkey, and you just beat the shit out of buildings. But that shit wouldn't be there unless the movie. So it looks like they just try to ride the popularity wave, and they come out with games with that name that may not even.
tied in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I agree. Shit, what was I gonna say? Oh, so going back to Injustice for a second, like, yeah, so there was one button for like an attack, one button for block, and then one button for special, and that's it.
wow.
So it was like, if you're not attacking, then you're blocking, and then if you block their attack, you try to get in an attack with your attack, or you push the button to use your special or whatever, and that's it. So it was real simple, real forward. Like you said, it looked like a phone port or something, or a
Yeah, it
mobile
looked like a
port.
phone board. Yeah.
Yeah, so it might have been. I don't know because I've not tried or seen Injustice for a phone, so I'm not aware. But it was pretty simple, so it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. And it's just kind of sad that I understand that the arcade market is, past its prime, as I mentioned, but you feel like they should at least put in a little more effort. But I don't know. I guess it's probably like cost versus profit, like what they're going to make. So they could probably make more money by releasing a mobile arcade port versus
Yeah,
going in and spending the time to develop an actual arcade version of Injustice. So, yeah, it's sad.
that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on from that. We went on a bit of a tangent, but I think it was fine. So, well, we'll talk about Monster Hunter World since it just released on PC. I think Daniel spent a little bit more time in the game than I have, but I'm enjoying it so far. It's my only experience in this type of game was with Dauntless, which we played at PAX South and we've mentioned previously. But Dauntless is essentially trying to copy Monster Hunter, and Monster Hunter is like the Mac Daddy of the, genre. So for me to finally get my hands on it, yeah, it's like they're night and day. The only thing that really bothers me about Monster Hunter is the fucking party system. It's absolute trash. Like Dauntless was simple. It was like Daniel and I wanted to group up. I invited him to a match. We could fucking pick a mission and play. That's it. Monster Hunter, you gotta create an online session, you gotta invite your friend to the session, they have to fucking go to the counter, accept the fucking session, and then if you're lucky, the game will let you get in, and then you can fucking choose it. And not only that, if he ends up in my session, in my online game, if he hasn't got to the point that I have, or vice versa, can't fucking do it. Not only does it not tell you that as soon as you join, but it's dumb in that it doesn't. I understand where it's coming from. That it doesn't want you to, I guess, like kind of like see things that you haven't got to previously or whatever. It wants you to make sure that you have advanced far enough in a story or figured out where a monster is or that a certain monster even exists before it allows you to play with them. But it's kind of a barrier, I feel like, and it's really lame considering the fact that, like I said, Dauntless, which is trying to copy Monster Hunter, had it figured out. So that's my hot take on Monster Hunter. But I am enjoying it whenever it actually fucking works and we're able to play together. So let's hear yours.
Okay, so mine is a little bit different than that. I like the game so far. It's fun. Seeing a lot of cool creatures, and I like that they all operate differently, and they don't really seem like clones of each other. They actually have different abilities and different ways to fight them, etc., etc., etc. The game itself is good. I think it is an awful fucking port. I think that I don't know what the fuck they spent the last 6 months working on, because it probably came out worse than the console version. The connection issues are awful, and Capcom says they're looking into why that's happening. But you had fucking 6 months, like, what the fuck? It it's actually really taxing on the CPU. I found out why, like, I keep crashing it's because of the CPU usage. My CPU usage is 100% on that thing. So
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to getting that new CPU when they come out, the Ryzen Zen 2 architecture. But anyway, so it's not optimized by any means. The graphics themselves, like, after I play on 2K, and it doesn't look that great. That doesn't support ultra wide, which is kind of disappointing considering it's a AAA game. You would think a Capcom game would support something that's not that niche anymore.
Right.
And I had one more complaint, but I don't remember. I don't know. It feels like the game itself, when it works, it's awesome. The problem is when it works.
Yeah. So, I mean, so just judging off of our two experiences, like my beef is with the party system and his beef's with how the game looks and how it runs. Like, but when the game comes together, we're actually able to play together and it's working fine, there's no connection issues, it actually is a hell of a lot of fun. But the problem is that there are these issues, and as Daniel mentioned, they had an extra 6 fucking months. It might have actually been like 7 months, but
Yeah,
I mean, you
better part
know,
of the year.
exactly, exactly. They've had time, and they're a AAA studio, AAA publisher, developer, whatever. So they're not like it's not like they're an indie where like an extra 6 months could make a hell of a difference. Um, they're since they're AAA, it should make more of a difference because they have more resources to develop or to use towards making the product better, and they didn't. It just kind of feels like either they weren't prepared to release on PC and they just decided like last fucking minute like, oh shit, we should probably put this game on PC also, or I don't know, they just decided to not allocate as many resources to the PC version or the PC port. Do you know? I mean, because we're both kind of noobs to the Monster Hunter franchise, but do you know if previous Monster Hunter games, like this is the first one on PC,
It's
is
the
is
first
it
on
not?
PC. Yeah, it is. And
Okay.
that's what their explanation was when they said that they wanted to release at a later date. They said this is unknown territory for them, so they wanted to give themselves time to get a perfect port. And while as much shit as I give Destiny, their port was good. The game sucked, but like the functionality was there. It supported all sort of PC things. Like I was able to play 2K ultra wide. It looked good. It doesn't tax the shit out of your PC. Like I think Destiny's the game ran well. The game there was not much game to run, but the game ran well.
What game there was able to run? Yeah.
Yeah, we never had connections issue in Destiny. It's really disappointing that this is happening, considering that we had to wait this much more time to see it, and then it doesn't even support any. It looks like I'm playing a console game on my fucking computer, and that's why I play computer. Not to be PC Master Race, but I invested a lot of money into it because I like the way it looks. Like I like playing at higher resolutions and console. I like playing maxed out, and it just I don't it didn't live up to my expectation. I was really excited for it, and the game's still good. I'm still gonna play it. That doesn't take all these graphical issues don't take away from the fact that the game's fun, and more that's the most important thing. But you would hope that a PC port from a AAA game, AAA developer and publisher would be able to take advantage of PC hardware. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
No, I agree with you. So not that we're gonna necessarily have one soon, but let's just say you had to review Monster Hunter. Like, do you feel like you've invested enough time to just give it a score based on what you've experienced so far?
Yeah, I actually have already thought of that. Like when I was playing through it, I'd probably give it an 8 because I think the game itself is awesome. But there's too many technical issues that bothered me that aren't an issue in other AAA games that come out on PC. There is a lot of like ultra wide. Really, I think that'd be the perfect game to use ultra wide.
Yeah, because
But
it's be able to show more of the environment and how big the scale of the monsters and
yeah, I I don't know. Even freaking 20XX supports ultra wide, if I remember correctly. Like it's not like
which
it,
is a homage to Capcom, kind of, like
yeah,
so it's
of
not.
their former self.
Yeah, exactly. But see, so it's funny that you mentioned an 8 because what I was thinking as you said it was for some like small like if an indie game received an 8 they'd be like fucking through the roof like oh shit we just got an 8 like that's fucking great, but for Capcom they could probably give a fuck less about an 8. They're more concerned about like 9s and 10s, and that's the difference. Like if they had to work a lot harder to get the higher score, like if they decide like if they acted like they were an indie and put as much time and resources into making the port a lot better, then they could easily have gotten a 9 or a 10 from you. And I feel like I'm the same boat. I hadn't actually thought of a score, but it's kind of in the same thing. Like I would give it a lower score versus if they had spent the time in and fixed all these. Like if they fixed the party system, that's to me that's the most important because having fun is great and all, but if we can't even fucking play together,
Yeah,
I could give a shit less about what the game looks like if we can't even fucking play together. So if they fix the party system, the score would already go up at least 1 point. And then if they fixed all these other issues, like it'd be almost flawless. Like no game is perfect to me, but it'd be up there. It'd be
yeah.
really, really high up there. So they're content probably with just getting an 8. Like they would like the higher scores, but they're like whatever, it's an 8. We're Capcom. What the fuck.
Well, to be fair to them, they are working into connection issues. I don't think they're gonna work on the other issues that I complained about, but the connection issues is something because it is a game where you're supposed to hunt with other monster hunters, and if you can't do that, then kind of defeats the purpose of the game.
Yeah, yeah. Simplify that shit, Capcom. This is the first time that I think we've ever had to say it this way, but Capcom, fix your shit.
Pretty much. Normally
Usually it's
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Normally we're like, Ubisoft, fix your shit. So Capcom, fix your shit. But yeah, I think unless there's another thing you wanted to mention about Monster Hunter, we'll
Not really. Like, I guess I have a lot of complaints with it, but it is a good game. And
yeah.
if you have like a potato computer and you meet the minimum requirements, get it. If you're not expecting like any sort of graphical anomalies. That's it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So yeah, and then another thing we wanted to mention was going ties all the way back to when I think we were talking about the override beta actually, and Daniel mentioned something about Microsoft losing the war right now constantly. But what we're gonna kind of tie all that in together with is recently Bethesda is talking shit about Sony as regards to Elder Scrolls Legends crossplay. Now, Elder Scrolls Legend is a tactical turn-based card game, kind of like Magic the Gathering, and these kind of games that you've seen, Gwent or whatever, which is the Witcher version. There are a couple of them out there, and so Elder Scrolls Legends is Bethesda's version, and they came out recently as saying that the reason why there's not crossplay is essentially because of Sony. Like Sony's fucking it up for everyone, and like it's something that we've discussed before, but it bears repeating that if Sony were to just say fuck it and allow crossplay, like that would just be a benefit to everyone as gamers. Would it be a benefit to Sony as a company? Probably not. But going back to what Daniel was saying about tying in how Microsoft could win the war, let's just let you say it because you brought it up off camera very well. You're talking about Microsoft and Nintendo. So
I I think this generation's pretty set, obviously. So this is more of a next generation thing. If the Xbox 250, whatever the fuck, whatever they decide to call it,
the next box,
the next box, yeah, and the next Nintendo, which those things change names all the time, so I don't know what the next one's gonna call.
Nintendo Universe.
Yeah, if those decide to have like a standard, we're gonna have cross-platform or cross-platform play on all our games, and I don't think that's too bad for them because Nintendo needs to find a way to appeal to people other than kids, in my opinion. I know that they have a lot of games that are fun, like Zelda's fun, Mario's fun to all ages, but it still has a kiddie feel, like a kiddie marketing, I guess, or that's just been what maybe the Wii screwed them with that kind of stuff, and it's
Yeah,
just leached over. They need to find a way to get out of that. Microsoft needs to find a way to get back on top. So I think the best thing for both of them to do would be to cross to introduce the crossplay like that, and Sony would probably have to either they would probably force Sony's hand to get in on it because then people would get an Xbox and then like the Nintendo people could still get their Nintendos and it would be one because platform. I don't want to say one platform because Xbox Live and Nintendo whatever the hell would be separate, but you could play together. It would be everyone's living in peace other than the Sony people. So the Sony people who are PlayStation people would want to get in probably on the Xbox unless they're really Xbox haters, then they would go Nintendo. But point being is Microsoft and Nintendo, as part of how they advertise their new platforms or new consoles, has to have that in their important things coming up. Like no more TV, no more for Xbox. And they could probably steal it from Sony because now no matter what platform you or your friends choose, whether it be the Nintendo, the PC, the Xbox, you can all play as one, which is something we've never had before in a entire like platform base. Not we've had it in games. Like obviously we have it in Fortnite. We have it in what's that soccer game with the cars?
oh, Rocket League.
Rocket League, yeah.
Yeah.
So we have it in different things like that. But I think that would be a way to sell the generation, and Sony would either get on board or get left behind.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's Sony is the odd man out right now. Like with the crossplay with Fortnite, you can play on every fucking version together, minus PS4, Xbox, Switch, fucking phones. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck kind of weird shit is that? Like one of your friends is poor and only has a fucking phone. Like okay, but I'm gonna play Fortnite because it's free. But I'm gonna play with my friend on Xbox. I'm gonna play with my friend on Switch. I'm gonna play with my friend on PC. Like that's fucking mind-boggling. But let's say they decided to get a console, they bought a PS4. Guess what? You can't fucking play with them, fucking Fortnite because it's fucking PS4 shit. So yeah, I agree that I think Nintendo and Microsoft could get together and force Sony's hand into allowing the crossplay, and I feel like that's something they should do, just to kind of move the video game industry as a whole in that direction. It's interesting to see how it can be done now with you know it's it's like we mentioned. I think it was maybe earlier this year or late last year, one of our podcasts. It might have actually only even been an audio podcast. How uh, the crossplay was accidentally turned on in Fortnite, and you could play with
Yeah.
PS4 and Xbox. So I mean, if they did that shit on accident, like it's not like it's fucking hard. It's just Sony's taking a hardline stance against it. They're just being like up on their high horse, like we're fucking Sony, we do what we want because we're number one. Like
But
and that hurts the consumer in the long run.
it does, and the funny thing was that Sony was all for it last generation when they were the underdog, and it was Microsoft that was being the bitch in the situation.
Yeah, I guess it depends on where you're. where you are, where your perspective is.
Yeah. So that's why I think not only would that be a generation winner if they decide to do it, that's something that you couldn't retract if you did come out as like the top dog of that generation. So I think that's the way it should go.
Oh, I mean, can only cross our fingers and pray to the game gods that it's something that happens. But who knows? So we'll move on from there. We could probably talk about crossplay and how much of assholes Sony are for another hour or something. So keep it moving here for a second, and we'll bring up something that I think Daniel will have a lot to talk about: the new
What's that?
NVIDIA graphics cards.
Ooh, yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
I have quite a few things to say, which so their
I
rumor
like how
is
excited he gets. Go ahead.
rumor is Monday they are going to be announcing new graphics cards along with selling them as well, at least for like pre-order. Not so much
Like,
you can have
hey,
one in your hand. Yeah,
yeah, like, hey, this shit's on the market now, by the way. Like,
right. Which suggests they're probably going to come out in the next few months. They claim to be a new architecture. I forget the name right now. I'm kind of sad about that. But they are supposed to be 6 times more powerful than Pascal, which is what is in the 10 series. So that's pretty significant. They claim that okay, so it's 20 naming system now, so it's not like the 1060, it's the 2060. It's an RTX, not a GTX. So I think it's weird, but what else? Um, they've claimed to have found some reports online of them testing them because I don't know how they can't find a way to test them in secret. Like these leaks always get out. Maybe it's marketing.
right.
Maybe they purposely leak them out. But the leak is that the 2060 operates as well as a 1080. It's not the 1080 Ti, but just the regular 1080, which still is amazing. That if you have like a 1070, you have a solid 1080p card. So if you get a 2060, you're going to be set for 1080p for quite some time. Which I'm hoping 1080p is going to start getting phased out. I'm hoping that, but we'll see. I think 2K could be a better standard, and 4K being the enthusiast, but that's a different story for a different time. So it looks like these cards are going to be something substantial, and they were showing some sort of Star Wars video that I haven't seen before. But it's like a really high video that's pre-rendered. Not pre. That's not pre-rendered. It's rendering on. It's like a little video.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I think it's the Silver Stormtrooper, right? Like,
Yeah, where it's all shiny and stuff on
so
the lights.
that's yeah, it's Captain Phasma. Which, if you're not familiar with the movies, that's who that is. But yeah, it shows off basically it's to demonstrate all of the effects and stuff. But
Okay, yeah, I didn't know
continue.
that. I just knew about that. So before that thing was run on of 3 high-end GPUs, this is nothing that we would do, but that thing was run off 3 of the highest GPUs, and then with the new GPU that's coming out, which is super expensive, like $10,000, so it's nothing that we could do. But it's just showing the it's just showing the power jump can be done off one GPU now. So it became 3 GPUs SLI together to one GPU. So that's the kind of power jump we're making. It's interesting because I kind of don't see a market for it right now. Like, I want one, but what game like actually is using like nothing is using that kind of power. So I think it's cool. I think it opens up the space, and maybe with the new consoles, the PCs will start seeing better graphics as well whenever the new consoles come out. But it's cool that all this tech is coming out at one time. Like the Zen 2 is going to come out with the Ryzen architecture. That's going to come out. Hell, next year might be the best year to build a badass top of the line PC because there's a lot of huge jumps in power. I guess from one architecture to another. Zen 2 is supposed to be 20% better, which
Nice.
which is real good for gamers and streamers.
Yeah, and which we are both of.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. I saw the thing about the RTX cards or whatever as well, and yeah, it looks incredible. I think I saw the comments. People were trying to speculate how much they would be. I don't know where you got that $10,000
That's
number.
that's not the 1080. That's not the gaming. That's the industry one.
Okay, okay. So that was because I'm like you said that, and I'm just like, dude, no fucking
No, no,
way.
that's the industry one. That's the one
I
that
could
there's.
I could build a Bitcoin mining setup for 10
Yeah.
grand. Like, but anyway, like yeah. So they were speculating what they think the cost might be on these new cards, and people were saying just like how when the 10 series was announced, whenever the hell that was, the range was from like the low end of the series was like 500 600, and the high end was like 1,000 ish. So they're saying it might be somewhere around there, or possibly since it's such a huge leap, like in power, that it might actually be a lot more. Whereas the low end starts at the 10,000 or the 10,000, 1,000, and it goes more towards like 1,500. So
Well,
I mean, personally, I know it's a huge leap, but I hope that it's reasonably priced.
okay, pricing is something that they haven't released yet, but to talk on that, I don't agree with that 100% because first off, when the 10 series came out, the lowest 10, like I guess mainstream 10 was the 1060, and you could have gotten one of those with like the lower RAM SKU of it for like $200, maybe 220. So I do know the maybe the 1080 was 500, but
That's just what I saw. I can't verify it to be fact because I have no idea, to be honest. But
no,
that's just what I saw.
the 1070 was 500. I think the 1080 was higher until the 1080 Ti came out. But one thing that they're talking about is that they're not releasing the different cards in waves the way they have done before, which is something new to NVIDIA as well. Because NVIDIA has also never done this kind of like, hey, look at our new cards. Hey, they're available tomorrow type thing. That's new to them too. So this whole launch is getting people worked up because it's so un-NVIDIA. And well, what I'm trying to say with the card thing is before they released the 1080, and then a month later they released the 1070, and then like a month later they would release the 1060. They would start with the higher card and work their way down. Apparently, all the cards are going to be released at one time. And what I don't know what's going to happen though is apparently there's a big overstock of previous generation cards. The current, I guess, current gen until tomorrow. Because they overproduce the shit out of that, do all the Bitcoin shit, and then the Bitcoin thing died before they stopped producing them, and now they're stuck with a bunch of stock. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with the prices for the current generation too, because it may be better just to get a current gen, like a really badass current gen one, if it's comparable to what the new ones are. Well, it's not going to be comparable, but
I think I know what you're saying. Like, you
yeah,
know, if you can get like a pretty badass current gen one for like let's say $200 versus getting like I know it's a substantially more powerful card, but the minimum price is like 600.
yeah,
You know, it might be better just to pay the 200 because like you said, a lot of games aren't taking advantage of it yet. So for now, it'd be better just to be able to run everything in the max fucking settings or whatever and not break the bank.
right.
Whereas once the games start taking advantage of it and are able to utilize the technology, then fucking go for the good shit because then you'll be able to run it on the max fucking settings, high as possible, tessellation, pixels, etc., etc.
Right.
And so you'd be getting the most like
Bang for
the
your buck.
greatest. Well, I was gonna say the greatest experience,
Yeah,
like
true.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see what comes up from the gaming side because normally it's the hardware that holds back the software. So now that the hardware's here, let's see the software catch up.
Yeah, so something that you actually showed me this morning before we recorded this, it was like some benchmarks for, was it current gen cards that you were showing me, the video?
That was the CPUs, the Ryzen CPUs,
Oh, it's the
the
CPUs. Okay.
chipsets of the different motherboards.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like in the benchmarks, it's basically talking about the like older 300 series motherboards.
The
What the
370, the
Yeah,
X
versus the
370 or
versus the X,
370X.
yeah, versus the 470X, and some of the benchmarks weren't that far off, and so I mean, it'll just be interesting to see what the new benchmarks for these graphics cards. It's completely different, but what the benchmarks for these new graphics cards are versus the top of the line current gen graphics cards.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But do we have a monitor to have that many frames? Like, it's like
I think that's one of the comments that I was reading about the graphics cards. Somebody was complaining about how uh, they wanted to be able to do like 144, was it hertz or whatever,
Hurts, yeah.
and yeah, 144 hertz at like 4K or whatever, and they're like, do they even have fucking monitors that do that? Like,
No, I don't think they do
so
yet.
yeah, so I mean, you can't display the amount of frames that are being sent to you.
Yeah,
So why would you even give a shit? I don't know.
it's a good time to be a gamer, a PC gamer.
Yeah. Um, sorry, console fanboys.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So this episode has gone super long, but I do feel like it's was been a great episode. But you know, if I need to, I'll take some chops and do some clever edits and such, and bring it down. But I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a wrap on this episode. So, and then we just before we go, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone that's been supporting us. We're slowly
Ooh.
getting higher views on YouTube, and our streams are getting a bit more. Well, I don't know about you personally, but mine have been a little more constant viewers. Not much, you know, at least one per stream. It feels like, as opposed to having zero for for a long time. So we're slowly making headway. But so I just want to say thank you to everyone who supported us and continue to ride this wave with us, and hopefully we'll make it to the top. But thank you once again. And so for this episode, I've been Matthew,
I've been Daniel.
and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Laters.